Welcome back to War Thunder, welcome aboard the E-100 and welcome back to Arcade and PvE? Yes, that is correct. Today I want to try out something different. Now I have actually waited for this since Halloween. What? You don't know what I'm talking about? Well, on Halloween we had this event where on Kursk, no, not on Kursk, on Mostok. On the Mostok map you had this hill location with a few houses. That is, I guess, very similar to the one on the Road for Brave event. And it was practically a PvE with rather dumb bots. Now, the one thing that I really disliked was that I got shot from across the map by bots and instantly killed. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about PvE in general and also about certain possibilities how to improve the game experience and also the reward. At the moment, as you can see by the video length, it's over 20 minutes and that's long. To be honest, that is long. And it is so long with so many enemies that if you want to survive in one tank, well, you have to be careful with your ammunition. And that is also a side effect of this video. Now, this is of course high tier PvE. You can see here the E-100. I also have 8.0 tanks in my lineup. And I think, you know, what is the E-100 worth in this lineup? Actually pretty much. It can provide, yeah, mobile cover for other tanks. Now, don't underestimate the value of AAA guns, because they actually can shoot down the jets that attack, as you can see here, and from time to time they go for you and they are very likely to snipe you. What can you do against them? Well, you can try to hide, not so easy on the E-100. By the way, did you see the spalling effect? And that was not existent after all. And I tried to gun him down with my 75mm. I charged into the horde of T-92s, and well, my secondary gun is doing the job. The E-100 has many advantages over the mouse, although being very similar to it. However, one major drawback is that, well, it has not a lot of ammunition compared to the mouse. Let's go over it. The E-100 has 42 rounds for its main armament, the 128mm KWK-44, and 67 rounds for the 75mm KWK-44. That is, to be honest, a lot. That's much more than a lot of the Soviet heavy tanks for comparison. The mouse, however, has 68 rounds for the big and 100 rounds for the small cannon, so roughly 50% more of ammunition, or a third more, around about that. That is quite substantial in the long run, and that explains the huge size. Those are rolling ammunition factories, both of them. But when you have a constant shooting for 20 minutes, you're actually running low, and I made a huge mistake through the entirety of this match, and that was I was, you know, not really taking care of the ammunition of my 75mm. And don't underestimate this gun. It actually makes the E-100 and the mouse relatively fun. Furthermore, I just wanted to try out PvE in terms of income, Silverline and RP. And I have to say, I'm not really impressed. Yes, it's PvE. On the other hand, you know, I expected a little bit more, especially when we see the endgame result. And I have a premium account and a talisman on both E-100 and the 10.5cm Tiger 2, which I will bring out later on. The funny thing about the E-100 and the mouse is that now you get a smoke shell for the 75mm gun, and that shell can just constantly throw a nebula around. Now what you can see me doing here is quite amusing. I'm actually pushing out this tank out of our capture zone, so to speak, and I just did not. I just made it barely a few meters more, and I would have done it, but I had to go out of the way to allow my team to shoot him. And yes, I'm going directly into the enemy assault, as the next aspect is, and I'm actually a bit thankful for it, that the enemies are shooting with regular AP or APHE rounds, and that means the armor of the E-100 is worth a lot, and I mean a lot. You have to allow the enemy the perfect shot into your sights under the skirts, the side skirts that is, to allow the enemy to even damage you. And the T-32 doesn't have the highest penetration. In close quarters he can penetrate perfectly your turret cheek, but you know, I guess the bot is auto-aiming, and so I produce a lot of bounces and ricochets. I can see here another aspect. It's very similar to RB. Don't let yourself get fooled. The E-100 can go relatively rapidly, as I have shown in a video on Kursk, where I rolled downwards and, you know, took no prisoners. Yes, that little Soviet tank. Jokes aside, back to PvE. I go here into the side of the enemy, trying to not just kill them one by one with the 128, but also, you know, de-stress my team, trying to get the attention of the enemy bots so that they shoot me, and also trying to shoot their sides to get a lucky hit into the engine with my 75 to set them on fire and also stop them. Because, for example, T-32s, they are really fast tanks. Now I guess this is a bot driving model, so it's completely different from, I guess, the arcade driving model. Especially up hills, those tanks just race. It's fantastic. And I just have to say, it is not as easy as it looks. You have to decide yourself for one flank and then just trying to just trying to stop that flank and to distress it. Now the thing is, if too many enemy tanks get into this, well, blue box, then they destroy those Marder 3s, and if you lose too many, you lose the game, or if you lose them all. Now you can see here 6 of them we have, and the red stars, or the white stars with a red box around them, are the remaining enemy waves that are coming. And now we can see that there are jets incoming, and yeah, they're hurting a lot. I guess I got destroyed numerous times by them in previous tries, and it really annoys the hell out of me. And the most effective AAAs that we have are getting focused by the tanks. At least it looks like that, so nobody is really wanting to get into a AAA. The first complaint that I have is that you can't refill your ammunition. So if this would be a giant cap circle, I just could hold my ground and just blast them notoriously. That also would profit tanks in a hull down position, like the Japanese Type 74, and that would be really fun, because against those tanks the APDS even would work quite well, or other tanks with a higher rate of fire. The Centurion Mark 10, for example, would be a nice tank. Now I have not tried lower tiers, but I can tell you right away, a Leopard would not really work that well, because he gets bot focused, and that is not nice. Killing an M46 on the move and yeah, trying to stop them from getting into the zone. You can see it on the radar, it's quite close. Again, I try to rush into them and I just try to detract them, and it works. And my enemy and my allied team actually can harvest them. and I can harvest them as well, so a lot of exploding American tanks. Yes, yes! It feels great, to be honest, it feels great. Now we have already 10 minutes behind us. I got a hit on the F-86, F-25, but nothing too serious. Now you can see here a lot of planes. The 7, the 8 and the 9 key are bind to it, and they are just working like in the normal arcade random battle. So you press one of them after you get a lot of kills. One for the fighter, so somebody else has to trigger the air battle in an attacker, which is on the 8, or the bomber, which is at 9. How useful are they? Well, I have not played too many PvE missions, but the few times that I actually took a plane out, it was the American B-57. And, well, it's very sluggish in arcade, in realistic, not that easy to control. Unlucky bounce there, and just tracking him. When they get tracked, they turn sideways. You have to aim for the rear of the hull, actually where the armor is even weaker, but I have a lot of misaim, and yeah, I just try to track him. And again, the 128 bounces off the side. No benefit from the armor interaction rules, no overmatch, nothing like that. Just a bounce. So again, just a quick shout out to the Russian engineering department. You have done quite well with your 122, which would have undoubtedly penetrated according to my experience on that side armor shot. And yes, I think that is quite something. I track another tank, and you can see on the other flank my team is kind of struggling despite killing a lot of tanks. It feels a little bit repetitive, to be honest. First you get the T-92, then the M47, and then also the T-32 spawn, and then it recycles and it recycles and it recycles. And you get your occasional F-86 Sabre Assault, and I really have to say that I don't like the planes. It's just that rockets are still too strong. Now, a quick update here according to my grind process so far. I tried to respade a lot of the things lately. The smoke shells, I have not played a tank with it so far because I want to respade them. That is a higher priority. And then I also have to test how smoke can be used, can be abused, can be made work against the enemy if they use the smoke, and what offensive and defensive capabilities you have overall. Again, the advantage that you have with something like the mouse and the E-100 is that you can fire smoke with your secondary gun. That means your primary armament, once being loaded, will not get wasted, and you have more than enough shells with the 75, with a really fast reload cycle, so that you actually can switch between the heat shell with a 100mm pen, or 80 if it's the stock round, and also the smoke shell. Now I have to try out how the smoke can be aimed properly and how it really works. I have seen certain kind of tips how to make them work, because you can still see the optics through the smoke, which allows you for at least indirect shooting. Not extremely accurate aiming, but still it's there. For something like the Shermans or the German Panzer IVs, well, it's kind of a different story because they have to fire it with their main armament. And that means you have to shoot, you have to reload then the smoke shell. The reload is quite substantially long for that kind of how the matches are played, I have to say. And that means it's not as useful on the first glance, but it still can work really well if people do teamwork. For example, there is an ATGM on Ash River, in the spawn location hull down, like an IT-1 or another kind of ATGM, and you just simply shoot at the area. The smoke shell explodes on the rock and smokes up the IT-1, which gives him cover, but smoke works both ways like tracers. And yes, I just bounced off the back of a T-32. Yes, a little bit of misaim, but nevertheless, the turret on this tank is just awesome. So the next thing would be, why would you play PvE? Well, first of all, it could be a little bit of a different experience within War Thunder. I expect it to get more diverse in the future. I expect it to get modified for more income. Now you can see me trying to shoot down those F-86s, but you can see how sluggish this bomber is and how difficult it is to get guns on target. And even though I have buffed 50 kills, yeah, in this run they just don't do the job. And I actually missed the chance of dropping bombs on tanks, which is bad. But again, back to the reward. After 20 minutes, you get the final stage and you get the maximum booster, which is either a 300% silver lines or research point booster. And you can do that once per day, either in planes or in tanks. In planes, I find it very annoying. With tanks, obviously you can choose your tank to such a degree that you have your best performing tank and a tank with armor that can withstand the attacks from the enemy. Now here you can see me, I got damaged a little bit, but still I'm fully combat efficient. But now I'm running, I already run out of 75mm heat shell, and I'm down to 7 armor piercing rounds and 2 high explosive rounds. Yeah, so much for the huge ammunition capacity. Again, if you're constantly shooting, you might just run out of ammunition faster than you think, and I went into battle with full ammunition capacity. So it's not like trying to give yourself better survivability by taking out the ammunition out of the turret, which in a normal random battle I do, because if you can shoot 15 times with an E-100 with the main armament, you should at least have 10 kills, as long as you hit, that is. Now when the shell hits, you get destroyed, undoubtedly, because this is a very, very strong shell. So, and at this point I just have to say it's becoming apparent that this mission is not that good for playing alone. If you get attacked from multiple sides, you have to choose one side. You can ambush the enemy, hide behind a house, but then relocating is dangerous. You actually can see when the enemies are focusing you, when they turn their turrets towards you. Now again, what then could you change about PvE? And I know it's just implemented in this patch for practically a few days, but still I think this is a very raw implementation. Again, 3 waves coming from the very same exact positions, just trying to get into your capture zone, and you just have to murder them. Now again, the one thing that I really like is that you can kill the enemies quite easily, which is, I think, down to the sheer number and to the fact that you actually have to win this. You also could lose it, but again, you still have to wait out like 20 minutes. Now you still have to destroy the last wave, but you have to do at least 20 minutes to get the maximum RP possibility. If you just make 5, 10 or 15 minutes, you're going again over a borderline, so to speak, that gives you access to or makes the lowest possible booster higher in reward, which is good, I guess. So was this fun? it was kind of satisfying, I have to say, which is oddly enough. So I'm down to, I guess, now my last armor piercing shell. I have now 2 HE shells left, but sadly now it's the turn that the heavy tanks are coming and you need AP rounds for that. With HE they are very difficult to take down, even in arcade. You have to kind of splash down into their ammo racks. I'm not even quite sure if you can do it with a T-32. I know that you could even hull break a T-92. I have not tried it out, but this is my second attempt with the bomber. And here is one important tip: don't go for the front that you are standing on, because if you go out of the plane afterwards you have nothing to shoot and the enemies are on your back. So here I destroyed in one bombing run 2 T-32s. I'm not quite sure if that was worth the plane. And now the F-86 are coming in again and I have to engage them. This time I have a little bit of a better position, but again you can see how sluggish this plane is. It's damn hard to control, but I get a instant kill with the 50 cals. Seems like the 50 cals are also working against AI units. And now the timer runs out, so a little bit of smoke, and yeah, then let's get out of the plane. Now in arcade this would give you another little reward, but I think it's not worth wasting that time. After you have dropped your bombs, you just should J out. It doesn't count for a death. So there's that. So I'm down to 2 HE rounds, and this is, I guess, the very first time that I am down to my last shell after having taken the full ammunition complement. It's kind of strange to play like that, and I guess I will make it more often. Is it really worth playing it for the boosters? I guess not, because let's just say you get the maximum booster, which is a 300% Silverline or RP booster. You still can use it in one battle, and here I went out of the E-100 to get into another tank with a faster reload and also a overall better performing gun. Here you can see the timer. After you got destroyed you have a 5-minute cooldown, which is really annoying. I have to say this is bad. And I take out the 10.5 centimeter Tiger II with this absurdly long cannon, which I absolutely adore. I really like the look of the tank and the sound of the cannon. Yeah, I played enough with this tank. Not so much in RP, because this is one of those tanks that I guess is from the old arcade days, which I really like. And strangely enough, here the shell goes through the side, which it also should have been able to do with the 128. It has more penetration, bigger caliber, yet it bounced. This one also went through the lower plate, and you can see the huge, massive shrapnel effect of this 10.5 centimeter APHE shell. And I have to say, it feels like an improved 122mm from the Russians. It has a faster reload, faster muzzle velocity, you have more ammunition, it has more high explosive core. Just the caliber isn't the same, but you know, you also have more penetration. Have I mentioned that? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, and here we are going for those tanks. Now I have a problem. I played like I would have an E-100. I can't just turn my side towards the enemy. So I have to be very careful. I should have cleaned up that that map site that I was previously on, and you have to face your armor towards the enemies that you are in front of, and you should then not focus on the second wave or shoot somewhere else, as bots with side shots can still kill you, or at least damage you to such a degree that you're crippled and have to bail out to get into a tank with high battle performance. Yeah, so that is now the next wave, and now we are going for the last wave. And the jets are coming in, and I try to get out of their attack line. Now, if you get attacked by the jets, you can easily determine that if they are heading your way directly. I think they will not change course too much, but you have to make sure that they don't attack you. Again, AAA will not really be in the match on your team. Well, why? Well, again, they get focused by the tanks. It feels like they're mostly very vulnerable, have no armor, and not really a place where they can hide, especially when the enemy wave is coming in aggressively as that. And they're shooting me, my armor holds, at least for the moment. I try to focus the tanks on my side. Brilliant shot into the T-34, and he explodes. A lot of shells bounce again. I try to wiggle my turret here a little bit, still trying to aim. This is, by the way, the 10.5 centimeter King Tiger in arcade with an ace qualification. Still, the reload is very long. I wish I have the reload of something like a T-29. Now I have to say, this is the first damaging shot that I really received. I make out the guy that shot me, and I still can perform thanks to how arcade works, because your gun breech doesn't blow up when it's black or damaged. It just gives you a roll with the dice. Again, here the shell just bounced off the side, and I should have tried to ram this guy and then aim for the cupola. Now the King Tiger is fairly high, so you could pull that off. And I shoot the back of the tank, at least I tried. Then he got taken out by somebody else, and I detonate the fuel tank of another T-32. I'm in the reload, I repair. I do not do a crew replenishment, it would take too long. And now another roll with the dice, it fails, but the second one goes right in, blows him up through the side of the turret. Again, German shells, they do relatively well against flat armor, but not so good against angled or sloped armor, so this means you have your hard time with Russians. I6. So, and yeah, that's it. That's the match. We won. By the way, this is the very first time that I won a PvE, both in planes and in tanks. Yes, I didn't try too hard and too often, but at the same time I often think it's not really worth it. Now let's have a look at the results. And for 45 kills and 19 assists after over 20 minutes, I got not even 50,000 silver lions and not even 7,400 research points. That's not really worth it. Yeah, I got the 300% research point booster, and I used it in another match where I got a big chunk out of it, but I guess it's not really worth it. Let's just calculate it through. In an air RB match with a 300% booster, and you know, taking the previous time into account, you just play 2 matches and you get more RP out of it with the same results. Do you know where I'm going? Gaijin, please increase the reward. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about PvE. Does it have a future? What kind of things do you want to get changed? At least for tank PvE. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your comments. So again, we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.